So welcome to District 4, the Innovation and Information and News. I'm your host, Amy. We're going to talk sports, and I know I normally have my jersey on, and I'm normally at my little studio, but today I'm just home, so I'm going to relax a little bit, but I'm also going to go in a little bit, and I think if you follow me enough, you're going to know who I'm going to go in on mostly. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about the legendary team, for lack of a better description, in the NBA versus how it progressed, and not necessarily progressed, but today did they sustain it? The top runners for today, did they sustain what was built or did it not? But before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I do cover different subjects, so you're always welcome to click the notification button so you'll know what type of information I'm posting or news I'm posting. Either way, you'll know what's new and up to date, and you can pick and choose which ones you like. All right, so we are talking my favorite subject because it's not quite season yet. It's on its way, and everybody's already getting ready. So before I get ready, I don't go into stats and all that. I mean, a little bit I will, but for the most part, I like to just talk about getting everybody set up for what's happening. And this is another way to do it. If you look at my last video, it was about the NFL. Now I'm covering the NBA. Okay. Oh, and I did talk about hockey. So I always start with my favorite teams because a lot of times people hear me go in, so I like to just go in at the beginning. So, all right, so we're going to talk about the Lakers. Legendary team. You will hear me say this all the time. It's a legend. People get mad because I always say, why is LeBron on the team? And people go, he's the leading scorer. Blah, blah, blah. He is this. He is that. He is. But you're not thinking about the team. Much like LeBron, no disrespect to LeBron, you're thinking about LeBron. But the Lakers as a team was the legend, not LeBron by himself. And this is what always makes me mad about LeBron when he's on a team. He'll gut the team and he'll center it around himself. You become the leading scorer if you're making a lot of points. And how do you do that on a team like the Lakers? Let's talk about the legend of the Lakers. Showtime Lakers, Magic's team being one of the greatest, right? And this was at a time when, I mean, you could go hard on the floor. I mean, this is like street ball / regular pay tickets games. It's not as soft, no disrespect, that it is today. Back then, they went hard. They slid across the floor. They, bumped into each other. They threw balls hard at each other. I mean, they were going in. And it's a little bit different now. And we also can talk about, of course, Kobe and Shaq Lakers. But you know what? You notice you say both. Kobe and Shaq Lakers. The Lakers as a team. What we say now is LeBron and the Lakers. And I don't like that about him because we're a legend. So how does that differ? It differs because Showtime was the team. Showtime was everybody. Now Magic stood out. He scored a lot of points, but there were also a lot of people that helped make Showtime Showtime. That's why they called it Showtime. They didn't call it Magic and the Lakers, because he was a team player. And I feel like the Lakers, when LeBron came to the team, you'll hear me cough about this all the time, he sort of gutted the team. He does this often. He'll take on, like, Dave, we can call him Dave Davis, takes on D, and D is like, yes, LeBron, and I'm not being mean. I'm just saying it's not enough for him to go hard. He'll get rid of those people. He doesn't want to work with those people. And there's a lot of people that are like that. But if you're on another team, I'm probably not going to complain as much. But I'm complaining because he's on the Lakers. Three-peats. Legendaries. I mean, they went hard all the time. And we're not doing that now with LeBron. Not to say that LeBron's not doing well and the team's doing okay, but did it sustain itself from when they were back in Showtime all the way up to now? Even Kobe and Shaq all the way up to now? And the answer is, as a team, no. I mean, send me hate mail, those of you that are going to be in my comments, like, they're the greatest team ever. I love LeBron. He's the top scorer. No doubt. LeBron is a lot of things. Great at PR. He is like PR magic. I don't know who his team is, but that's a good PR team. He is very charismatic. He's very nice to listen to when he talks about the games and all of these things. He's nice to look at and all of these things. But at the end of the day, he's not really sustaining the team as a whole. Okay? Anthony does his part. LeBron does his part, but then LeBron has everybody else working around him, including Anthony. So I just think that I'm going to say no for that. I'm sorry. I know. I just get in trouble when I make these videos. I'm going to get in trouble for that one because everyone's going to tell me how, and I get it. He's the #1 scorer and all of these things, but how did he get there? Let's look at the game that he actually played to get those points. Was he like the main shooter? Was there anybody else really shooting on that game? When we won, they're like, oh, we won in 2001. Yeah, but we won in the bubble. I mean, that's a little, not that I'm putting the win to the side, because I was glad we won. It's my team. I'm a Lakers fan as a whole, as the team. But I mean, I can't give LeBron props for maintaining what had happened then. All right, I know. Okay. Go ahead, look at my NFL one and send me hate mail for that, and then the hockey team's probably gonna be mad at me too. So let's go into the Warriors. We're talking KD's time versus Curry. Now, that is a team for sure. We still have Clay. We still have Steph. We still have Green. We still have all the people that are major on the team, somewhat. I mean, I know there were like people were put on hold and all of these things. There were injuries and all of these things. But that's really what set this team back. But as a team, they maintained after KD. Now, maybe not losing him as a scorer, him meaning KD, Kevin Durant. As a scorer, okay, it hurt a little bit. But I feel like they still maintained the team as a whole. Win or lose, they were still doing it as a team. So I'm going to say from KD's days, from KD's times, still having Clay and Steph, still having the base of the team there, even with injuries and all of these things, people being moved and everything. We still have a team here that can make you a legend if they keep going. And it's not to say that they're not already, but to the extent where you have like the Celtics, when you say the Lakers, you say years, you go over a period of time, that team. You're not just saying it for that particular season. If I say the Lakers, you're not just going to talk about this season. If you're a real fan, you're going to go all in. If you're talking about the Celtics, you're not going to just go in for that season. You're going to go all in. You're going to go to that Larry Bird time. I know everybody's like, oh, Larry Bird. Now, here's the gripe with Larry Bird. This is no disrespect. One of the greatest players of all time. Celtics at that time, great team. And I love the rivalry we know between the two teams, right? We got the Lakers, we got the Celtics. Still a rivalry almost today, but not comparable because it's just a legend at this point. It's like an urban legend at this point with LeBron running the team. But we still have the Celtics because we've got Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum is still maintaining that and keeping it up. But let's go into depth a little bit more. Part of that was the rivalry between the two teams. Showtime, we had Magic, we had Bird, we had them going at each other. And there was two teams that you could always go to and be like, oh, I'm getting ready to get tickets to this game. Like, it's going to happen. And I feel like the Celtics, yeah, as a whole, you got to still root for them. You have to still root for them. But, and I think as a team, they have Brown, right? Jalen was on there. They had a lot of team players. But did it sustain the Larry Bird's time? Now, this is one that's difficult for two reasons. One, because you can't really compare the play of the game back then to the play of the game now. It is different. It's the styling is different, the pointing and the ways to obtain points is a little bit different. So you can kind of like, you can't really say, could he maintain that, him meeting, Tatum and all the players for today on the Celtics, even though they went and won. You still can't say that they maintained it necessarily because it was not to be maintained. The way that they played then on those teams, I think if you put maybe Larry Bird on a team today with Jason Tatum, it would be different. I'm not saying they wouldn't be legends. I'm just saying that the play there is very different between the two teams. Not one necessarily better than the other. They're just different. But both strategies win. So you can't get mad at that. You're going to have to say he probably just sustaining it. Today's Celtics did sustain that legend and the ones in between. We can't forget we had some in between there that also kept the Celtics going. So as far as long-term sustaining, even though the play was really different back in the heyday, it's the one team I would say that actually maintained it throughout. I know people are going to get mad, but send me hate mail. But if you look year by year, you start with maybe Bird and start looking at those years and start going and remembering what happened in between there, and then all the other players that came to the game. The Celtics have always been at the top. In a sense that you're always going to watch that game. You wanted to see the Celtics play. And it didn't change even last year when they won. So I'm going to say number one out of all the ones that sustains the team. Now, with every good news and every like super harsh news about a team that's mine, because I don't like to go in on my own teams, I do have to talk about the Bulls. Okay, now Chicago people are very tough. Okay, I'm going to get hate mail from Chicago no matter what I say if it's against the Bulls. If I don't say the Bulls are the greatest team ever play the game, they're probably going to be mad. But going into the season, who do they have? I know. Everybody's going to be, what? And they're going to say Jalen Smith. They're always going to go with that. And they're going to say, you know, Ball is going to be on there. Lonzo Ball's on there. But I think stat-wise, yeah, they're pretty good players. I mean, if you look at Jalen, for example, I'm looking at his stats. He's about like 9.9 points. He's got rebounds of 5.5. He's got about points of 13. He's got assists, you know. His assists look like they're 1.0. I could be wrong. Let me reread that again. It is. So, all in all, he's not a bad player. I'm not ever getting on him. He's a good player, but we're not talking about the players as individuals. We're talking about the players as a team as a whole. Those are the two that will stand out, but you have to ask yourself, does that sustain come on, he's a legend, Michael Jordan years. Is that ever going to sustain? Can you ever sustain Michael Jordan years? Is it even fair, let me know, to compare Michael Jordan years for the Bulls anywhere? Number one player in like all times, we would have to say. Surpassed the sport. But it's more than that. He did it because they played the game. Pippen, Jordan, teamed up, played the game, made the team valuable. You say both of them if you miss it. Yeah, you say Michael Jordan, but you also say Ed Scottie Pippen. I don't think Ball and, Smith are really going to be able to do that as a team. Maybe as individuals. But I'm not talking about that because I want to see these teams go up against each other and see if they can continue to maintain, or are they not maintaining? Because if they do, they need to step it up. When you have a team and you have fans and they're legendary teams like some of these teams, you want to see that legend maintain itself. And I'm not so sure. I think the Bulls is a good team. Don't send me hate mail because everyone's going to be like, no, that we had. And you're going to start listing every great player you ever had on the team. I'm not saying that. I'm not talking about the stats. I'm talking about the teams as a whole going into this season. And maybe some stuff that they can do to help maintain that status for that team that you want to go in there and make sure you get those tickets to see them play. All right? So I'm saying no with the Bulls. No, I'm sorry. I don't think you sustain that, and I don't think you could sustain it necessarily because how hard those players played and how much grief. Another thing too is sometimes static between people creates competition. And some of these teams, if you look at them, behind the scenes, they weren't all getting along. Like, hey, we're just great people. But what they were smart enough to do was to not take that onto the floor. They let that drive them to do better and to work harder as a team. And I don't think nowadays you can really say much like that about a lot of these teams, especially not to go into the NFL, but in the NFL, people are like, I'm not happy, and they're ready to go. And I'm like, well, okay, I get that. Nobody wants to be unhappy, but do what you need to do on the team first. Build yourself and your character on that team, and then you move. You don't just because you're uncomfortable and you're suddenly leaving and going somewhere else. So I feel like that happens a lot nowadays. We're a little spoiled, right? As sports people, right? We want things a certain way, and we want everybody to smile and be happy. And this is the age of participation. Participation awards, for little kids and stuff, and it wasn't like that. And back in these days when these teams became legends, back then you played hard and you either won or you didn't. You don't get I'm here, let me get an award. It doesn't work like that. You played and you won, or you lost and you learned how to take it. And that was just it. That to me was sports, right? To me that was basketball. And then we have the Bucks. First of all, I love Giannis. Just on a personal note, he's so sweet and he's cute. He was talking about Oreos and milk and all of these things, and I was like, oh. Not to be a little girly at this point, but just saying, he's a good teammate. Even though he scores and he's easily on his own as far as points, as far as the game, as far as knowing things, but I feel like the Bucks become a team on the court. And it sounds like they're like that behind the scenes. I don't know, I'm not in the locker room, but it sounds like that's probably the case in the locker room. And I think that it expands itself out to the floor. But the Bucks during Kareem, remember Abdul-Jabbar was on the Bucks? Does anybody remember? I know everybody's like, wasn't he on the Lakers? Isn't he a Lakers player? Yes, he was. But he was also on the Bucks. Look it up. I did not make that up. I promise you he was. And if you look at that season, go Google it, because we can Google anything now, or go back and look it up on YouTube or wherever you go, and you will see the play from that time he was there. And it helped to make those Bucks just that, the Bucks. I think easy, Giannis kept it. Easy. And probably for some of the same reasons Kareem kept it. I don't know. Let me know if you agree with me. I'm all going in. But I'm waiting for the season. I am always excited every sports season. It is really ridiculous. I am all prepared. I'm watching pre-games and wasting up some time, because pre-games don't really indicate. It gives you an indicator, but it's never the same as watching the actual game. So, and we get some people to highlight and look at. And let's see. I'm thinking this year and hoping this year, all of the teams, not the people, the teams as a whole become forces to be reckoned with, and make you want to look at the whole game and the meaning of the game and what brought you there in the first place to be that sports fan. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.